Okay, so this is my recording for the Unreal Engine VR project. So I'll be honest, I've spent about 5 hours trying to get this game to properly compile, and it's not really been successful. So I've got somewhat of a working version of the project, but later on in the video I'm going to go in and show you what the actual project looks like in editor. But this is the cooked and packaged version of my VR project. From start to finish, I was going to try and make an island theme, and I feel like I have delivered on creating an island theme. While this loads up, you'll be able to see, you'll see a black screen. But basically the island that I have made is a tropical island where you're on the beach. You are surrounded by an ocean of water, and there is rocks that are interactable, so you can pick them up and throw them. And yeah, it's a really nice environment to be in. There's some sounds. I've added some really scuffed seagulls so that you can see a little bit more ambience. Here we go. So here we are in the level. Unreal Engine's having a bit of struggle, actually rendering the game because Lumen. But yeah, so we have rocks scattered around the whole island, and one thing we do have is on my left controller, we have now got smooth locomotion, so I'll go wherever I look, right? Can also go backwards. That's one of the major changes from the VR template. And on my right controller, I have a smooth turn effect. So if you were sitting down, you could look around using this and move around with your left hand, but you can also look around and move like that. Every single rock that you see on this beach is physics enabled, and you can come down. Oh, yeah. Let me turn. Let me go to this rock. Yeah. So this rock, this rock, we can kind of grab it, right, and we can throw it. No problems there. This boat over here is the same kind of thing. However, it's slightly different. Where if I can pick it up, if I walk over here and pick him up, right. With the boat, if I throw it in the water, what's nice is it will float. I have added buoyancy and pontoons to the boat, so it is able to float in the water as if it's an actual boat. Not very good because there's not many pontoons, there's only 4. But yeah, so all the trees that you see on the island are placed using a PCG graph. So the computer is handling placing all the trees. Yeah, the frame rate is quite low, I know, but there's not much I can do about that. The game runs. The floor texture, I followed a nice tutorial to get rid of the tiling. So it's nice and random and uniform. Well, not really uniform, but it's random and not uniform and tiling, so it's pretty nice. So yeah, there's also those really scuffed seagulls which you can see flying around, which is just literally just a static mesh of a seagull that's just flying around using the component. Yeah, there it goes. It's using the AI like move to components, so it's pretty cool. Not much you can do in the VR game, but I mean, it was fun to make. It's been about a week of trial and error getting it to work, but yeah. Another cool thing is, if I was to restart, there we go. If I restart, it's going to load me into the original template level. So this is what I originally started with when I was making the whole VR project, and not much has really changed. You can still pick up the guns, you can shoot them, all the assets still work. You can, you can pick up the cubes. But this was really where I started to play around, was just seeing if I could add this cylinder here as a grabbable component. So I can come over here and I can grab it. This was my first attempt at grabbing or making something grabbable. Oh yeah, there's also a cool, really cool bug. Oh, come here. No. Fuck. Yeah. No, okay. If you stand on it, you can kind of make yourself just fly, which is pretty hilarious, so yeah. But you can also load into the new level if you ever want to, and yeah, we're back in here. And now, yeah, you can, Anyway, that's the VR project, and I'm now going to take you into the editor so that you can see what the code looks like. Okay, so here we are in the editor. I have just noticed that as I've opened this, it has bugged out and my material is adding a bunch of grass where there's not supposed to be grass. But yeah, so this is what the level in the editor looks like. As you can see, this is the PCG trees, which I'll show you the code for. But the PCG trees allowed me to make a dynamic environment without having to manually place all the text or all the assets myself. So it's very interactable, or it's very scalable. You can modify it whichever way you like, and you will be able to basically make any environment you need. So for starters, what I did for the VR, like the actual interaction and the locomotion, is I changed how you interact with the VR pawn. So once this opens, gotta give it a moment. There we go. So the way that we do the smooth locomotion is we, instead of teleporting to the location, we instead add a movement input to the actual player pawn, right? We have a character movement component which we can instruct to move at to a certain place using a scale. That is how we move forward, and then this is how we turn smooth. It's very simple. You literally just rotate or add world rotation, and this is how you get the smooth movement. So compared to what was originally there, which was this code over here, it would basically, when the move was when the teleport was initiated, it would find out the position of where it wants to teleport to, and then it will move it there, or move the character there. It will just teleport it, or teleport your character. It's a lot of code for, in my opinion, a worse movement system. So after I did that, I had decided that it was time to make my beach material, which I followed a lovely tutorial to give me a random, normal or normalized landscape material. I then used content from the Lush stylized environment content pack to give me the trees that I will use in my PCG blueprint. So I have a PCG graph and a blueprint that instructs the PCG how it should use splines to derive a place to place assets. So using this blueprint, which is placed in the world, I can manipulate these spline points to create a larger PCG radius. Now the PCG blueprint itself, I'm just gonna... Ooh, those are disabled already. There shouldn't be trees if it's disabled. Whatever. With a force regen. Is this the right PCG? Ah, I need to be doing this one. Okay, so if I enable that, yeah. So trees are gone. So from the start, I'm gonna have to see if I can do this without needing multiple screens. From the start, we get spline data, right? The spline data creates a whole magnitude of points when we sample it. So each one of these dots is a place where something can be spawned. With that, we take those points and we randomize them. Each one of these blocks with a different darker color is a random density value. Each one of these is unique. What we can do with that is plug that into a density filter, which can filter out a specific block type of a specific density. This gives me a bunch of points which are random that I may be able to spawn a object on. And for example, if I was to change the seed of this density noise, those blocks are going to change, right? This is where the procedural content generation of Unreal Engine comes into play. This is now all random. It's computer generated. So once we've filtered out a point that we want to spawn an object, we project that onto the landscape. So now those blocks are on the landscape surface, right? Which we get from this node here. After that, we can transform those points, which I think they're now going to, yeah, they're going to be under the ground. So I'm just going to disable that and bypass it. That should work, right? No, they're still going to be under the ground because of the transform. Okay, well, anyway, we basically transform the points so that they have a random rotation over here. They have a random rotation, a random scale, and a offset so that they're in the ground. I'm just going to delete that and then re-enable this. Right. Once we have that, we have a bounds modifier, which basically changes the shape and size of these objects, and then we use self-pruning to get rid of the ones that are intersecting with each other. After that, we then have a static mesh spawner which will spawn the trees. So at every single one of these cube points, we are spawning the static mesh of the SM Palm A. And then that outputs. So that's how the PCG works for the trees and the foliage. So you see each one of these blocks is going to become one of the small trees. So very simple. PCG is amazing. I might make a tutorial on how to do some basic PCG because I find it really simple to do, but it makes it very easy to create large environments like this without needing to absolutely break your brain by placing them all. So if I make a new level with a open world, I can give you a better better view of this. So we take the PCG spline, put it in. We have one singular tree because there's nothing else, or it's not big enough. If I move this and we make it bigger, you can see we have a forest with no extra effort. Now the beautiful thing of this is if I were to come all the way over here and I were to make this quite large, it will take a moment. Oh, okay. Oh, Unreal Engine can crash. That's actually a really good way to end the video off. Anyway, yeah, that's basically how I made my level for the VR project. It was all PCG generated, and I added a bit of sound and a flying bird that just randomly moves around the map. So yeah, that's my VR project.